get back into to how you got to meet Kobe.
Right.
So you start that was at the Score, right?
That was at the Score, yes.
So in what year was that?
I met him in December 19, 2005.
Okay, so leading up to it, did you have to prime him and
No, he never seen me before. I never saw him in real life before. And when you have a media pass for either the Raptors or the Maple Leafs, you get you can go to the practices. So the cool thing about the NBA is you can access a player 3 times a day. You can go right after morning practice.
Okay.
Then you can go 90 minutes before the game. The players are available for 45 minutes. And then you can talk to them after the game. So 3 times on a game day,
Wow.
you have the opportunity to speak to a player.
You have access to them.
Yeah, some players like Kevin Garnett only wanted to speak after the game, and some players only wanted to speak in the morning. So, and some guys would speak.
And they'll let you know that, not the players, like
the PR staff would let you know, this person kind of likes to speak in the morning. But anyway, I didn't know. I hadn't spoken to the LA Lakers PR staff. It was
you just beeline for Kobe.
Yeah, at noon they open
I
up
love
the door.
it. That's what you're supposed to do. I feel like that's what you.
I was
that
nervous.
made sense to me. What do you mean? If I see Kobe, I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, excuse me, sir, can I go talk to?" No, I'm gonna run my risk. There's some times in life you have to run your risk, and you did it.
Yeah, they say sometimes you just got to shoot your shot.
What's the worst?
So I shot my shot.
The security's probably some old guy. What's he gonna do? Tackle you?
No. Well, I was allowed to be there because I had this media pass. But if I was just some fan inside the Air Canada Center, they'd be like, "Yo, who are you?"
Yeah,
I
wouldn't suggest that.
I had a camera and a microphone, and
So
that's where I met him. I asked him about. I was doing a bit on bandwagon, like how does he feel about bandwagon fans that only come around for the good times? At this time, the LA Lakers were a terrible team. This is the 04-05 season. Oh, sorry, 05-06. Smush Parker, Kwame Brown, Chris Mim.
So was that around the time he dropped 84?
He dropped 84 2 weeks, 81 2 weeks later.
Sorry.
2 weeks later, he dropped 81 points.
After talking to you.
Well,
I'm not just saying, I'm not putting it on you. I'm just saying after talking to you.
No. the way he was able to drop 81 points, because Sam Mitchell would not double team the most prolific scorer of that era. So then he dropped 50 on Morris Peterson.
That was Sam's ego right there. That was Sam's ego right there.
And then another 30 on Jalen Rose. Caught some, I think Joey Graham caught a few of those buckets.
Jalen wasn't playing D. Jalen was talking to him. Jalen was like, yo, do your thing, fam.
But he still held Kobe at least gave him 30 and gave Mo Pete at least 30 or 40. Yeah, and he sprinkled the other 10, 11 points.
I was in prison watching this. I'm like, this is not happening. This is really happening? Like, it was crazy. I was like...
But the crazy thing, he scored 55 points in the second half. Like, the first half was, kind of pedestrian. Like, oh, okay, he's got 20... I don't know what the math is. He's got 29 points or something like that. No, not 29. 20... What is the math? 26 points. And then, second half just exploded. Walking off the court, one finger up, and his index finger's kind of deformed because the basketball has jammed his finger so many times. This one's just a little bit shorter than the other. I mean, considerably shorter than the other fingers.
Oh, man.
So that's...
So after the initial meeting, you spoke to him about the bandwagon sketch you were doing, and then afterwards, you went to L.A., or did you just say...
After that, so I spoke to him at noon, and then I spoke to him again at 5:30, asked him something about posters. And then 3 months later was the NBA All-Star Weekend in Houston. So then I asked him about, why is everything bigger in the state of Texas? And then I asked him about, the space program. So within three months, I spoke to him 4 times.
So you built a relationship.
I did, and I wasn't asking anything controversial because the season before, he had his trial in Colorado. So his Q rating, his popularity was very low. And
that's not you anyways. That's not your thing. That's
Correct.
not your agenda.
Correct. I'm not like a journalist or reporter.
I'm trying to dig the dirt.
Yeah.
Where's the dirt?
No, definitely not. I'm like, there are legit reporters to do that stuff, to go find, uncover controversies or whatever. I'm just here to entertain. I'm a personality, and I'm lucky enough that I get this opportunity to go try to make some people laugh or show the true personality of these athletes.
And that's what you do. I think you did a great job of humanizing them.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
That's it. And I think over time that's why now you have access to everything. No?
The access is pretty good. It's still a challenge. Sometimes we get no's. Like I was telling somebody earlier, like I still haven't interviewed Russell Westbrook. I want to get to Russell, and I want to try to make Russell laugh.
I'm not surprised either. But
I want to try.
Good luck. I don't know
Russell,
I don't even think you know how you could like to get in people's face and shit. I don't know if you could do that with him. You know?
I'm not sure either. Like I don't know if I can put my hand on Russell's chest. Like he might be like, yo, what the hell is this guy doing?
Your head.
If the opportunity came up, I'd really have to go like brainstorm. Like, what could I ask Russell Westbrook about that he hasn't been asked before? That he might find he might either be playful with, or even if it's awkward, it could still be funny. But I prefer him to play around with whatever idea or theme I came up with. But that would be the challenge for Russ.
Okay,
we're trying to come up with something to make him laugh, because people don't really see him laughing on his Instagram feed. He smiles a little bit, but on the game, he's an alpha competitor. And then with the media, he's kind of prickly,
wishy-washy.
It's not. Yeah. He doesn't really have a jokey, fun relationship
he has his
with
guard
the media.
up. He definitely has his guard up. He has his guard up. Yeah, I see it. So back to Kobe. So how'd you set up the big sit down with him where you got to just hang with him? Pretty much, it looks like it. Like, how long was that shoot?
So then later that fall is when I went to LA for the first time, and we had to submit questions, and I just kept them really generic. So here's the thing that people don't realize is when I speak to athletes, it's a very short window. It's like 5 to 7 minutes max.
So you got to be on your A game.
Yeah. And so they'll see like a 4 or 5 minute total piece, but I'll add some highlights in there. I'll add a couple of sound bites just to give it a little more beef and give it some flavor. But the actual length of the raw interview was I interviewed David Beckham the other day in Miami. He owns a new soccer franchise. It was 5 minutes and 37 seconds.
I said David Beckham like it's nothing. Like,
but I'm just saying, like, but when people see the interview, they might assume that I've been there with him for like half an hour. Mm-hmm. But it is so short because these athletes.
So that Kobe segment was not days or anything.
Correct.
Like,
no, it was like I'm there for literally 10 minutes. Wow. At the most, it's 10 minutes.
You did
so
well.
Then, thanks, man. So then once the kind of precedent had been set, we'd only go once a year to LA to do like the annual Kobe interview, and then that's really where I developed like having props in interviews. So the first time I brought him CDs and pillows. He's like, "Why you bring me pillows?" I'm like, "Well, I want to stay at your house." So he goes, "You don't think I have pillows in my house?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?" I just don't want to inconvenience you. So there's pillows. Then the next year, I brought him pajamas. And then the year after that, I made him a key to my house. And then the year after that, I brought him like a snow globe. I brought him like a little mini Oscar trophy after he won one of the championships. There was always something that I would bring to the interview because I like to have props for the athlete and myself to have something to interact with. Or like some images, maybe it's something photoshopped or whatever, just so that we have something to play off of.
You could run a daycare.
Daycare? Oh, no.
Yeah, I like the way you're thinking. You could run something to interact with. That's very good. That's very good.
Can you imagine me like 23
What do they call it? I think they call that a discussion piece.
Is that really?
I mean, that's what you pretty much bring, something to kind of make it easy for you guys to talk.
Well, in many ways, in some ways, athletes are kids. And I'm certainly the biggest of them, but I just don't have the bankroll or the talent.
I mean,
the immaturity, 100%.
They get paid millions to play a game.
Yes.
Play.
Yeah, play. That is the operative word.
Like, someone be like, "Daddy, come play." Like, you get paid for that. That's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
But yeah, so then you got to know him and you built all those segments with him.
Yeah.
Ever since he retired, have you done anything with him?
No, the final year of his NBA career, I pitched him 4 ideas, and he liked one of them. And I was like, all right, well, I'd love to
pitched him? Like, you actually emailed him?
I emailed. So I got these pieces, like I got these images created, and we put them on this little what's called foam core. So it's like a thin. It's thicker than Bristol board. It's maybe like a couple centimeters thick. So I just made these images. So I'm like, okay, this is this idea. So one is like, one idea I had was the 20th anniversary of the 1996 NBA draft. So that draft class had Ray Allen, Steve Nash.
Damon.
No, that was Marcus Camby. Ray Allen, Steve Nash, Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant. So the idea was to get 4 of them on a stage. I would moderate it, and we would just the guys would just tell stories about each other. Keep it really loose, because it's awesome to hear, like, to be a fly on the wall, to hear some of these people just tell old stories. So that was one of them. Another one was writing a sketch about a superhero AA group. So we'd hire some actors to be like, put on like a Spider-Man costume and a Batman costume. And then Kobe, he's like just he's a mortal man, but he had like superhuman abilities to play this great sport. And then Steve Nash would also be in this group. And then I would be like the counselor moderating conversations with people, like try to find their way after their careers.
Yeah.
And then the last
like
one
analyze this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, great analogy. And the last one was, and this is the one that he liked, was what if Kobe never went to the NBA out of high school? What if he went to Duke University for a year? And in that sketch, we would be roommates. So it's set in 1996. So I just showed Kobe like this dorm room with the Duke logo, and like, we'd build the set. It's a dorm room. We'd have all this Duke stuff, these posters. And he goes, "This is funny." He goes, I would throw your ass out the room, or I would kill you." He said one of those two. I think he said he would kill me. But so
you spoke to him on this?
No, I presented it to him.
Oh.
So I went to LA just to pitch him this idea. And then the following day that I interviewed him, and that was the last time I interviewed him. And he gave me it was before a game, he gave me 5 minutes. Again, it was like super, super tight, small window. Wow. So then I emailed, so there's a lady that runs Kobe Inc., and her name is Molly. So I'm like, okay, let me write the sketch, wrote a sketch, revised it, revised it. The 5th revision is the one I sent. So at the end, there was like some girls in the room, and the lights were on, and there's some giggling, that kind of thing. And she sent it back. She's like, "You got to change the ending." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Listen, we're in college, we're in university. There are going to be some girls."
You know why?
Of course, yes, of course. So then I anticipated that that would be the case. So then I sent the 6th draft 11 minutes later, because I had already wrote a final scene. And then she's like, then it was just a matter of timing, and could never find the time. And then as soon as Kobe retired, then he went into producer, content creator mode. So he did the short film Dear Basketball, but before that he did Muse Cage. So he did like an animated short, or a thing with a puppet, and then he did another an animated short, and then he did the Dear Basketball short film, which is up for an Oscar. So he just never had the time. So I still, every once in a while, I'll send him a message on Twitter, be like, "Yo, we got to do our idea," but just haven't found the time yet. And I hope that we can do it at some point.
I'm gonna call it from now. I see you and Kobe working on something, because it only makes sense. If he's in a producer mode and you always wanted to do some theater stuff, and trust me, I see it happening. Just don't worry. Just be consistent. It's gonna happen.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I hope so too.
It's gonna happen. But I just wanted to touch on a couple of ththings. How'd you meet Dana, your fiance?
My fiance. Yeah. Thanks. I was in Calgary for a charity event. Not Damon Allen. Excuse me, Henry Burris, who was at the time the Calgary Stampeders quarterback. He had this annual softball game. So I went out, and I would shoot a segment at the softball game, and I would also participate in the softball game. I was terrible. So one night we were at, before we went to dinner, we stopped in at a lounge after the event, stopped in a lounge for a couple of adult beverages, and then we went to dinner. So it was at the lounge, and she was there with some friends, and that's where I met her. And I was like, "Oh, I'm just in town for this charity event, blah, blah, blah." And then I cracked some really terrible jokes. She's like, "This guy's kind of weird." But then we exchanged information, and then I went out to Calgary later that summer. That was in May. I went in, I think, for the Calgary Stampede or NBA 3. This was 2008. So it was for either the Stampede or some more Calgary Stampeder content. Mm-hmm. And then we stayed in touch. And then She moved to Toronto and studied. She's a chiropractor, so she studied 4 years at the chiropractic school of chiropractic college.
Smart.
Yeah, and so that's and I just wore her down.
That's gonna be beneficial when you have those children and you gotta keep up with them buds.
Maybe, yeah. And when I get older, the more my back just starts to, just the stress and
you ever
agony.
heard of float?
Float? What's float?
Toronto?
No.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you about it off air. You need to try that.
Okay.
It's great. Tom Brady has this in his house.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and that's how he'd be winning those.
When I get some Tom Brady money, maybe I can afford to buy one of these.
No, you don't need to. Well, till we get there, we could go to their places. You could go pay $70. Have a session.
Okay.
It's nice. I'll tell you about it. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
But yeah. So you guys are gonna be getting married anytime soon?
I don't know. We just got engaged like a month ago, so it's right now just trying to like find venues, and I'm not in a rush. She's more excited to get this whole plan this party and get these nuptials happening. We have an engagement party next month, so that's like the first step, and it'll be out there in Calgary, so her side of the family and friends will be able to kind of like, hey, congratulations, and then we move from there.
I got people out in Calgary, so don't worry. It's all right. You been out to Banff?
I have been to Banff. Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
Man, it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, Banff is really nice.
Beautiful.
I don't think I've ever been on a mountain there. I've just been consuming adult beverages in Banff, and that was very enjoyable.
I noticed on your Instagram pages there's a lot of sketches. How do you come up with your sketches?
Man, sometimes I just stare at the wall, or I look online for creative inspiration. Sometimes I'll go to the library and just force myself to come up with things. Okay. So when I'm like when I'm pitching to an athlete, I think I was like, what hasn't this athlete done before? What will this athlete be willing to do, and what can I get away with at TSN? Those are the three things I keep in mind. And what has an athlete done before? Sometimes I'm not sure, but if it's someone who I've never interviewed before, I'll go watch some old interviews just to see their body language and see how much fun they have and stuff. And
so have you shot stuff for like TSN and you went through the whole thing and then they shot it down, or is there a process that they shot it down before it even gets?
No, not that. Recently I had a piece that we shot, edited, hired an animator in China to do this animated thing. So spent some money, yeah. And then it never aired because of some internal stuff. But
how'd that make you feel?
Oh, I was devastated because every week I gotta deliver something every week, and to come up with something new every week is hard, man. It's a challenge. Listen, it's a challenge that I welcome because this is the job that I want and it's a dream job.
You know what? It goes back to even the pro athletes, because I always look at them. You can't expect them to be one. Like, I can't imagine these guys want to play ball every day, like all the time.
Fair. That's
even hockey players.
Yeah.
Well, football players, they should be able to play every time.
It's 16 games. Yeah, it's only once a week. But sometimes, man, sometimes you just don't want to get off the couch.
I know. Yeah, I just want to chill. But nah, you guys.
We're humans. We're not robots. Robots are our game every time. But humans, we're emotional creatures. So yeah, I can totally. And baseball is 162 games. Imagine trying to get up emotionally every day for. Impossible.
Something about baseball that I really admire is that it's the one sport that parallels life.
Baseball.
If you look at baseball, it parallels.
How so?
I mean, okay, you could have the best game of your life and still lose.
It's true.
So it's like, it's just never know. Like, crazy things happen in baseball, and that's life. Like, crazy things.
It's interesting. I've never heard
baseball
baseball as the analogy for life.
I'm telling you.
Of the sports, baseball.
What? And even the approach to baseball, you can't try too hard. You know what I mean? In other sports, you could kind of try harder, but baseball is one of the most mental out of all the sports.
That's interesting too.
You don't think so? I think so. That's why I feel like it parallels life.
Boy, that's a great. See, the action. So I guess I would push back on that because the actual gameplay is so short. You have four.
No,
four
but like if you
chances.
look at the whole season, it's so long. Like it's that long. Like it's that like life. You know, like there has to be a commitment to be a baseball player. It's a real commitment. And like how many days do you think these guys get off?
I get like one a month.
And then during the off season, they got to be back swinging the bat because the longer you stay not swinging the bat, like you could mess up your shit.
You're right.
So,
You're right.
So you're always.
I'd say like either golf or tennis.
I've never played. Like I never really understood golf, but I understand it. I know what you mean.
Are like the most mental of the games.
I understand that with golf. I kind of get it. But baseball is the one I know, so I know for sure.
But baseball, you're right. I mean, it's 1 versus 9 when you're at bat, and then it's a guessing game. It's like, what is this? You're
and then you're in
guessing
your
at what
head. It's in your head because the pitcher could throw dumb stuff to you, and you're just on some other stuff. Like it's just.
And I feel like you could slump. The slumps are longer in baseball. Like you could be one hit for your last 23 at bats. Whereas hockey, you can go maybe 10 or 15 games without scoring, but you could be contributing to the offense. It could be an assist, or it could be or just on a unit that creates turnovers.
Even basketball,
or
you could do other things. You could get stats, fill the stats other ways. If you're not really
rebounds, steals.
You know?
You get blocks or charges, turnovers, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's interesting though. Baseball is a parallel for life.
Yeah, it is. It is. But back to the interview now. The sketches you do, I feel like, well, I see that it generates ads for you. Like I see what you have with Advil,
right? Yeah,
American Express, and you have other ones, right?
Yeah, it's created some opportunities for me for
so
sure.
It's worth it sitting there, pushing yourself to get the sketches done.
Oh, yeah,
because I see other comedians comedians doing the same thing, like where they're